In this video, we're looking at a New American Standard Bible, Wide Margin Reference Bible in the NASB 2020 text edition. This is a blue imitation leather cover, what they call leather text cover. And this one comes in this slip case. The back of this tells you all about the Bible, so you get all the information that you need there. This Bible that we're looking at retails for $46.99, but you can get it on the Lockman Foundation website for $32.89 right now in this leather text imitation leather cover edition. So the NASB has an increasing amount of very nice options in a single column verse by verse reference format. And this is a new edition that just came out from the Lockman Foundation. I will compare it to some other ones that are in the same family of translations. This is the NASB 2020. And I'm really grateful to Lockman Foundation for sending me this Bible for review. I wanted to get it out there because it is a new Bible, and I thought people would be really interested in looking at this. So one thing I really like about this Bible is the construction of it. The inside here is a paste down, but it is a vinyl type paste down material, not a paper paste down. So that's really good to see. And the front and back does have some cardstock. Not as much cardstock as I've seen in other Lockman Foundation Bibles, but with the family records pages and the maps in the back, you do get some cardstock. So the construction of this seems really nice. It is Smyth sewn binding, but also the aesthetics of this are really pleasant. And if you look at the imitation leather here, the blue color, it's really nice blue, has a nice green pattern look to it. And then the spine of the Bible has the blind stamping. So all of their recent Bibles have a very nice, consistent, similar look. It's a little hard to see what that print looks like in this lighting, but I think you get the idea there. It says Holy Bible, New American Standard Bible 2020, wide margin reference, and then NASB Lockman Foundation on the bottom. Also, the back of the cover does have the ISBN number. And the pages on this one are silver gilt page edges. And then it also has blue head and tail bands and a black and blue ribbon. And I have to say, these ribbons are very nice for an imitation leather edition, which is usually, not the highest end edition. This really has nice ribbons. These two angle cut double-sided satin ribbons, they look and feel really nice. So for all the ribbon lovers out there, I think you're going to be really pleased with the ribbons that they put in this Bible. They also tuck them in very nicely on the top. So the construction of this, the aesthetics of this are very pleasant, but what really made me so happy to see in this Bible was the inside of the Bible, and I'll show you here, it's the paper actually. The paper in this Bible, I'll compare it to some others, you'll see it's really quite nice. It's a 32 GSM paper. They call it a high opacity paper, and it really is. So what that means is you're not going to see a lot of ghosting in this Bible considering the weight of the paper. Now, I'll compare this to some heavier, heftier paper, and you'll see this really holds up nicely in comparison. Even though it's 32 GSM, it still has really good opacity, and I'm not seeing a lot of show through in this Bible. Now, another thing about the inside of this Bible, and I think a lot of people are really excited about this, is the format. It's designed by 2K Denmark. It's the same format as you see in the Schuyler Stridon. So this could be referred to as the poor man's Stridon. If you can't afford a premium level Bible, or you don't want a premium level quality Bible, you just want something that's more affordable, and maybe you're less scared of it getting beat up a little bit, then this is a great option. Also, you'll notice here it is verse by verse, single column, has poetic setting in poetry sections, and then it also has some good margin space there, probably about an inch on the outside margins. And then on the bottom of the page, you have cross references and translator footnotes are separated by a vertical line. It's a 10-point font, and it does look like it is line matched. Looking at the New Testament, it is a black letter text for the words of Christ. And just to quickly show you here, the front of the Bible, I think I mentioned this earlier a little bit, that it does have a presentation page and family records pages. Here's the copyright page. It's the first printing, it looks like. It is printed in Korea. Contents page. And of course, you're going to get the foreword, the typical things that you see at the beginning of the New American Standard Bible. Then at the end of the Bible, after the book of Revelation, you have a topical index of the Bible. So you can look up different topics very easily, read about them a little bit. After the topical index, you have introductions for each of the books of the Bible. Then you have a couple of charts here, the parables of Jesus, the miracles of Jesus, and then your maps on glossy cardstock paper. Really, really nice. There's a lot of features in this I'm sure people are going to be very excited about, and now having this in a very affordable edition. If you didn't want to get the Stridon, this is a really good option. But again, the paper is what's really impressive about this to me for what you're paying for this Bible. You can get this for $30-something. That is really great for what I'm seeing here with the paper. Lockman in the past, in more recent years, was actually known for not having good paper, although in the last couple years with their new editions, it's gotten so much better. But if I just compare the ghosting in this edition, for example, get to some poetry here, so you can see how they look together. It may be hard to see on camera, but I can definitely tell you that the ghosting in this Bible can be really noticeable and distracting. And this lighting doesn't seem to make it look too bad, but I can definitely see it in person. And the paper in the newer edition here is definitely a lot better in terms of opacity. So it might be a little hard to see there, but in person, this one, the new one, is really a lot more readable. So that's a great improvement. And also, I think you can just see here the formatting difference. What's good about this newer edition is the margin is right next to the biblical text. There are no references in between the margin and the Bible text. Now, I do like the ease of use of the references in this Bible. It's easy to find them when you're reading because references are right there. But that's just a trade-off. Different people are going to prefer different things. But the main difference between these two Bibles is I would say this Bible just has a much more clean, pleasant to read look to it. And that paper, the new paper, really helps. If we compare to the Zondervan NASB, this is a NASB 95. I think they call it a side column reference. Again, it's similar to that previous Lockman I just showed where you have the references on the outside columns. And you do have some margin space, but it is outside of the reference margin there, or the reference column. And I do like this font a lot. I like the look of this. I do notice actually they split up the stanzas a little bit more clearly than what you see in this wide margin edition, the newer one. The only way you can tell the stanzas are different is by the bold verse number. So that is a little clearer in the Zondervan edition. But I think they both have a similar font size, so it's really just a matter of preference. And this, I believe, is a 36 GSM paper. And actually, looking at this in the lighting that I have been in, this opacity is better. There's actually less show through, even though I believe this is a lower paperweight than this Bible, the Zondervan Bible. So again, really impressed with the paper in the new Lockman Foundation NASB. But the heftiest paper, and this is a Bible that I'm going to be doing a full review of this soon. It is the Legacy Standard Bible, Intercolumn Reference Bible. So there's similarities in these two Bibles in terms of their formatting. This is also a single column, verse by verse Bible. But the difference here is you see you have the references on the inside column. The footnotes in this LSB are at the bottom of the page, but in the inside column. But when you look at the two together here, you see they both have the single column biblical text. And actually, again, I would say the opacity in this is at least as good as this one, maybe even a little better. And this is a 40 GSM paper. So whatever Lockman Foundation is using for paper, I hope other Bible publishers will start using something very similar to this. And I hope Lockman will continue to use this paper. Really impressed with that. This, I think, is an 11-point font. They are both pretty large Bibles, but this one is particularly large and hefty because of that 40 GSM paper. So another really nice thing about this Lockman Bible is you can see it is significantly thinner than the LSB, and I can tell you it's also lighter, just easier to manage. But it really comes down to preference when you get on the inside here. I like the margin space. I think a lot of people would like the margin space. However, again, the reference is a little harder to find and get to as opposed to being right there next to the biblical text. I like the references being here. But you don't really have good margin space in the LSB, Intercolumn Reference Bible. But one formatting feature I prefer in the LSB is how the verses in the prose section here are in a separate column. Really easy to find, and again, you can really tell when a paragraph changes there because that the verse numbers are separated from the text, and it's a bold verse number for a paragraph separation. So I really like having the verse numbers there, like if you're teaching or preaching, really easy to find your verses. This is verse by verse, this New American Standard Bible, but the verses are not separated from the text. So a little bit harder to find, a little harder to see the paragraph designations, although they are there with the bold verse numbers. And again, in terms of size, if you compare this one to the Zondervan, all these Bibles have a very similar form factor in terms of their height and width. But the thickness of this one is different than the LSB, as I showed you before, but it is similar to the Zondervan. And the page count in all of these Bibles here that I'm about to show you are very similar. So that's the Lockman Foundation, NASB 95, side column reference. So all of these Bibles have a very similar size, form factor, and width to them, or thickness to them. Whereas the LSB, which a lot of people are really interested in this, is definitely a heftier Bible with that thicker GSM paper. Although this one, the LSB, does have a lower page count. It's actually less pages than the NASB. But that is because they packed a lot in on those pages and you don't really have a lot of margin space. So some really great options in the NASB family of Bibles for a single column verse by verse format, and this is a great addition to that type of a Bible. So let me know if you have any questions or comments about this. I'd love to see that in the comment section. But thank you so much for taking a look at this NASB wide margin reference Bible with me from a Frisch perspective.